This story has crossed a line from which there is no turning back, because what was once just whispers behind the scenes, once mentioned with vague hints, once dismissed as exaggeration or personal bitterness, is now recounted in detail by those present in that room. And at that moment, the most shocking accusation in the Beckham family conflict is no longer vague, no longer abstract, and no longer merely subjective emotion. It has become concrete, direct, and devastating. According to multiple sources, Victoria Beckham did not simply step into her son's sacred moment at his wedding. She did not just go onto the dance floor. Not just an excessively long mother-son dance. What is described goes far beyond the usual boundaries. Victoria is said to have pressed herself against Brooklyn, rubbing her body, nuzzling his neck, and wrapping her arms tightly around him on the dance floor. And in that moment, Nicola Peltz, the bride, allegedly broke down in tears and ran away from her own wedding reception. From that moment on, the story was no longer a personal experience. No longer a, everyone sees it their own way. No longer a misunderstanding. If these accounts are true, then this was a moment that should never have happened. Let's pause here for a moment, because this is really important. Brooklyn Beckham officially spoke out in a 6-page statement, publicly accusing his parents of controlling the narrative, manipulating his image, ruining his marriage, and humiliating him on the most important day of his life. And at the heart of all that hurt revolves around a single moment, the first dance. According to Brooklyn, that dance had been prepared weeks in advance, a romantic, private, symbolic song representing the beginning of married life. But instead of a moment for the bride and groom, he claims his mother interfered, not discreetly, not briefly, and completely inappropriately. Brooklyn says he has never in his life felt so uncomfortable and humiliated. Subsequent revelations made the atmosphere even heavier. When singer Mark Anthony invited Brooklyn onto the stage, Victoria reportedly followed. But according to witnesses, her behavior was not like that of a mother sharing her son's joy. It left the entire room stunned. Some say Nicola was furious, some say she was completely devastated. Some say the moment ruined the entire evening. And the most haunting detail, repeated over and over in every account. Victoria hugged Brooklyn tightly, pulled him close, and nuzzled him in the neck, in front of hundreds of guests, on Nicola's wedding day. This wasn't a private moment. Not a family secret. This was public. According to page 6, Nicola ran out in tears, her face swollen, her joy gone, and her wedding night forever altered. Sources say the Beckham family applauded, while the Peltz family remained completely silent. And that silence speaks volumes, because this wasn't just awkward, not just embarrassing. It was a rift. From this moment, the story transcends a dance. If what is described is true, it perfectly matches the pattern Brooklyn says he's lived in for years, where boundaries don't exist, where control is disguised as intimacy, where image is more important than emotion, where the Beckham brand is bigger than personal space. Brooklyn says his family prioritizes public image above all else. Family moments are staged. Intimacy becomes a performance. And this dance, if true, becomes the perfect symbol for all those accusations. The spotlight more important than the bride, the show more important than subtlety, control more important than consent. But the story doesn't end there. Vogue presents a different version. According to them, Brooklyn and Nicola's first dance took place earlier in the night, quiet and emotional. Mark Anthony's performance came later, and Brooklyn was the one who invited his mother onto the stage. If that's true, then Brooklyn's account contradicts the previously published wedding story. And this contradiction is significant, because memories can be distorted by emotion. The public narrative may have been softened, or both contain selective pieces of truth. But the emotions are real. The pain is real. The shame is real, even if time blurs it. Then another bombshell explodes when a guest confirms their presence. Although the comment quickly faded, it was enough to sow another big question mark. The internet immediately reacted in its familiar way: ridicule, memes, satire. Victoria Beckham, who had controlled her image for decades, suddenly became the target of mockery. Meanwhile, from Brooklyn's perspective, this is exactly what he said he had endured his whole life: exposure, loss of control, private moments taken away and redefined. The most haunting detail remains in the shadows: the video. It exists, but no one has it. The no-phone policy at the wedding meant only one side held the truth. If the video supports Brooklyn, this story will explode even more violently. But if not, his entire story could collapse. Currently, the video has yet to surface. What remains is a broken family. Brooklyn is estranged from his parents, siblings, and sister. David Beckham is weary, silent, and maintains a calm demeanor. Victoria remains silent. And Brooklyn, isolated, married, angry, says, "It all ends here." Most unsettling is Brooklyn's assertion that he feels at peace. That leaving his family heals his anxieties. That Nicola brings liberation. And this narrative, whether intentional or unintentional, places her in the role of savior, while his parents become the source of his pain. And so here we are. A wedding dance. A broken family. A global brand fractured in public. A moment that should have been happy was forever rewritten as a night of utter collapse.